Okay. 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 Hello, everyone. I'm Sam, and welcome to episode 2 of Quarantine Cuisine. As a refresher of why I'm doing this is because I'm locked away in my apartment and I'm super bored. So I dragged my makeshift counter to the middle of my kitchen to serve as like a workbench. And that hasn't been annoying at all, having this here in the middle of my kitchen. The goal here is to cook with things that people already have in their pantry, just simple dishes, since it can get really old eating the same old thing. I did a good job on that one. So it's been super rainy here in Austin, and we just got word that we will be doing this for at least 30 more days, which is a huge bummer. So since it's been so rainy, I thought I'd take two. I don't want to do that. I'm going to take two childhood favorite meals and mash them together. We will be making egg in a hole grilled cheese sandwiches today. I'm calling it my quarantine Sam-wich, because it's like my name. I'm Sam. We will also be making homemade tomato soup to go along with our grilled cheese sandwich. If you don't know what a egg in a hole is, it's probably because it has a different name based on where you're from. I've learned there's about 1,000 different names for this thing. You got egg in a hole, you've got egg in a basket, you've got a bullseye egg, toad in a hole, egg in a frame, a hole in one, a one-eyed Jack, a one-eyed Peter, one-eyed Tony Danza, Mission Impossible 9 egg protocol, Jeffrey Eggstein didn't kill himself. Hey, there's an egg in my bread. There's a lot. Shirley, you can just call it whatever you want. Just don't call it Shirley. Hey. Anyways, it's pretty much you cut a hole in a bread and then you crack an egg into it. I don't know why they have to make it so complicated with all those names. Why am I so sweaty? I'm just standing here. So we're gonna take one of those and put it on top of grilled cheese. We're gonna accomplish 3 things today. We're gonna make our quarantine sandwich. We're gonna go over to the question corner, answer a couple Q&As there. And then I'll also be making another quarantine cocktail. This week we're doing, what was it? Oh, we're doing a whiskey sour, and I'm gonna show you how to make your own homemade simple syrup. Because it's very, I almost said it. I almost said it was simple. Not doing that. So let's start cooking now. Now. So we're gonna make our soup real quick. We're gonna mix 8 ounces of tomato sauce with some chicken stock. I'm using my homemade chicken stock. I'll show you how to make that in a future episode, but you can use whatever stock you've got. Put that in a pan and let it reduce down on low heat while we make our sandwiches. Now to make our sandwich. We're gonna start with just regular old dollar store bread. Since this is the time to be trying new things, I made bread, y'all. I just made bread, like, up here. I'm like Julia Child or Jesus. I'm going to show you how to make our sandwich with just the regular old white bread, though. First off, cut a hole in the bread. I'm going to make a version of this sandwich with my bread, but I'll show you that at the very end. After that, you're going to realize you're cutting on your serving stone and not your cutting board, and you're going to leave it some nice cuts right in the middle. Cut up whatever cheese you have and as much as you want. I'm a cheesy guy, so I'm going to use a lot. The next step, you're going to want to butter one side of each piece of bread. Now, before we get that into the pan, let's go ahead and make our quarantine cocktail. For this one, you're going to need one of these things. I don't know what it's called, and I only have it because I think it makes me look like a more interesting person. First, we're going to make our simple syrup. Simple syrup is a combo of sugar and water, usually a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 ratio. I'm using about 1/3 cup of sugar and about 1/3 cup of water that I'm going to heat up just a little bit. It doesn't have to be boiling, but it needs to be warm enough to dissolve the sugar. Mix it together, give it a stir, give it a shake, let it cool, and then you have simple syrup. Alright, now on to the actual cocktail. We'll start with 1 ounce of fresh lime juice, 1 ounce of our simple syrup, and then 2 ounces of whiskey. I'm using Tin Cup today because I'm trying to get that sponsorship. And this next step may seem scary, but it's actually not difficult. We're going to add the whites of 1 egg into the mixture. Slap your top on, and we're going to give it a dry shake, which just means we're not putting ice into it yet. Give it a toss for about a minute to froth up the egg whites in the mixture. After about a minute, you're going to add an ice cube and then shake vigorously for about 2 minutes. You're supposed to use a special kind of glass to serve this, but I don't have one of those, so here's a Stella Artois glass that I own. Let it set for a minute and then admire the frothy egg whites on top. Next, you're going to want to find a better glass to pour it into. So this drink is now sponsored by the 2016 Cider Fest in Seattle, Washington. This drink is delicious, and it really is pretty easy to make. Plus, you get a nice little foam mustache every time you drink. Now that we finished up our cocktail, why don't we head on over to the question corner? Come on, follow me. Welcome to the question corner. Now, this week, I'm only going to answer 2 questions. The first one is, am I just ripping off a bunch of other well-known and well-established cooking shows? And the answer is absolutely yes. I am 100% ripping them off. The big 3 that I love is Binging with Babish, Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. Those guys are just lovable. And then the third one that I've learned a lot from is Not Another Cooking Show. So if you're interested in people doing this thing better, then you should check them out. The second question is, what am I thankful for? And I am really thankful that people were not mean to me on the internet after I released my first episode. Actually, a lot of people reached out and told me that they liked it, and that really meant a whole bunch. So thank you to everyone who reached out and even people who shared their attempts at copying my recipe. So thank you for that, really, I appreciate it. So as a reward, here's a video of my niece and nephews eating their version of pasta carbonara. Enjoy.
Yummy. What do you think? It's good.
Very good. And that about does it for the question corner. Let's get back to doing whatever we are doing in here. That's so good. Gosh, that's good. All right, let's get back to our sandwich. Add a little butter to a hot pan and then place your bread butter side down on the hot pan. Arrange your cheese on the full slice of bread. Once that cheese starts to get melty, you're going to add your egg into the bread. I'm disturbing the whites in the egg just so it'll set a little bit better and won't fall out of our bread when we flip it. You don't have to flip it. I typically don't, but I was afraid that this wasn't cooking all the way through, so I flipped it. Let that sit for just a second and then add that slice on top of the cheese. Now it's time to plate. Grab your tomato soup and add it to your cutest little cup. Give it a nice cut down the middle, and time for the big reveal. The runniness of the egg and the cheese is a perfect combo for a rainy day like this. Take a big bite and go for the longest cheese stretch you can go. As you can see, I broke a world record here of about 5 feet. If you can do better, send a video my way. When you dunk it into the tomato soup, it makes it even better.
That's good. I like it.
And I know you're just dying to see how my bread turned out. So here's a quick look. If you attempt one of my recipes, send me a photo or video of your final dish. You might even make it into the next episode. This is one of my favorite creations.
All right, I'm done with this. No more. Okay, we have one more.
So you know I ate this like a quarantine man.
Ow!
Just remember to stay safe, wash your hands, do your best to eat well.